we discussed the real elephant in the room, which is that Mia Friedman, who is across from me, is about to enter her mother-in-law era. Last week, I decided to write her some rules on the website because I don't like having direct conversations with people. So I was like, I'll just write it on the website and then tag her, right?
I still haven't read it.
Yeah,
What?
right.
That seems strangely avoidant.
Well, because I live it. And also, if I don't know the rules, I can't
You
get in
can't
trouble
live
for
by
breaking them.
Yes, it's like a contract
Yet.
you never signed.
I like to
Love
imagine that
that
Mia reads everything we write.
No, she's very busy. What I thought I'd do is set some rules, some boundaries, some parameters for our relationship, because otherwise it might just get a bit messy. And if there's anything I've learned, it's that it is once I marry your son, I must hate you. That's what the internet has me believe.
That's true.
That your head is going to start spinning 360 degrees. You're going to vomit everywhere. You're going to start spoiling my unborn children.
I will refuse to make your wedding dress.
Yes. You are going to demand to know the...
We will feud via the Daily Mail,
Yes,
releasing
we will.
statements in interviews.
Exactly, right? So I'm trying to avoid that. So I wrote down some rules. Here are just a few of them. We'll have a link to the full set of rules if you want to send them to your mother-in-law in the show notes. But I had no key to my house, which you've tried to bring up
So
before.
many times.
You just really would like a key. Always text before you call, because abrupt calls at any time of day.
I called you yesterday.
You did.
It's true.
There
I
wasn't a text.
thought you would not like that.
That was a surprise.
I've called you a couple of times lately. I don't know what's come over me.
It's the mother-in-law.
'Cause
Because
I
you get
don't-
closer.
It's true.
Yeah.
Because I don't even like speaking
No,
on the phone.
no.
That was like you called
And I don't
her.
want anyone to call me.
No.
Why have I been calling
Because
you?
you're becoming a mother-in-law and you're
Yeah.
doing things.
Wow.
The boundaries are coming down.
Yes. No commenting on what I'm wearing.
Well, that can't be ever followed. You need my help.
And a lot of women say that they're
God, I can't
offended
wait to read the rest of
when
those.
their mother-in-law cleans their home, but I wrote that that's fine and that
As
I
if that would
would
ever
welcome
happen.
it.
I'll need a key if I'm cleaning your
Yes,
home.
that can maybe be negotiated.
Mm.
I then opened it up to outlouders because I thought this is new to me, but there's a lot of seasoned
And me.
outlouders. Yep.
Although I
who-
do have one. I have my own mother-in-law.
Yes, you do. And I said, what's one rule? If you could give them one rule, what would it be? And here's some. Please don't compare me to his ex-wife.
Ah,
I think that's fair.
that's very fair. Tick.
Do not have a favourite grandchild and give him a BMX for Christmas and then give his sisters a packet of pencils to share.
That shit happens all the
Does
time.
it?
Wow.
Is it the oldest?
Favorite grandchild is very often the oldest, the
Okay.
first one.
Yep.
And
the
also
rest,
the
yeah.
one who reflects them the most. Like, parents have to work very hard to play that out. Like, I get, one of your children might sort of be more like you, and you have to try really hard to
Yeah.
pretend that doesn't matter. But when you're grandparents, you're like, I don't care. This one
I
laughs
don't
at my
have to love
jokes.
them
It's my
equally.
favourite.
That's really true. I've got I know some people my friends' parents who are like, nah, that one's our fave, and I've got a different fave, and they're very clear about it, completely unapologetic.
Not right.
Please, this was one person who said they need their mother-in-law to please stop commenting on their weight and saying, good girl.
Good girl.
Good girl, ain't it? And the final one, do not follow me on Instagram, which I thought there's definitely a story there. I feel
That's
as though
really interesting.
you're-
Do some people not want to be followed on Instagram?
I know, by their mother-in-law. Mia, I'm giving
Very
you
hard.
the right of reply. Do
Yeah.
you accept these mother-in-law rules?
Well, I have to go and I don't accept those, but I'll have to go and read what yours actually are.
Yes.
I already don't accept one of them in that I'm going to absolutely comment on what you're wearing
Okay.
because often
Provide
it's-
feedback.
And often it's my clothes
Yes.
that I've given you.
Yes.
Although
that
there's
I
a lot of
accept.
clothes that I give you that you don't wear, and it's noted.
Which ones?
What
The
are
ones you don't wear.
do you have any rules for yourself in being are you scared that you're going to become a mother-in-law? And this is all tongue-in-cheek and facetious because we know that there are lots of women who have great relationships with their mother-in-laws. But
I
there
do.
is
I have
real,
a really good relationship. The worst thing she does is bring me beautiful home cooked food. I hate
you could
that.
do with more
I
of
hate that. Stop loving me with your beautiful Jewish cooking. Stop it.
There's a real cultural stereotype, and it's so funny that we don't get this with father-in-laws or men, and it's just such a sexist stereotype
Yeah.
that two women are fighting over the one man, and that you're obsessed with, and that he's been taken away by this new woman.
But he has.
Is that a real sense?
I don't
Yes.
understand this, but maybe I will when my son's older. But I don't understand this. This is weird to me.
It's like I was looking at a picture of a friend. She posted her and her baby on Instagram and said, "We're both each other's main characters." And it's like, he's still my main character, but I'm not his.
But didn't you stop being that before Jessie came on the scene? Like,
Jesse
doesn't
came
that
on
happen?
the scene when he was a child.
Well, that's
It's
true, I guess.
not
Because
true.
this is my theory about this: is that's what happens when your kids
He
get
was
older
19, if you're
anyway.
new to the show, just in
It's
case
not
you're
like
worried.
if he wasn't dating Jessie, he'd be like curled up in bed with you on a Sunday morning reading the paper.
No.
Like, I mean, that's not really
Very
the way
true.
that it would be.
It's very true, but you can take liberties with your son that you can't when he has a partner. You just have to be sad. It's just different. You're not the main character anymore. Like you're not a main character. And you're 100% right. I wasn't the main character before Jessie, well before Jessie came along. Probably you stop being the main character when they're about 12.
Yes, I've
And
noticed.
I still cry all the time. I can cry all the time. And my youngest is just turned 14. So I'm not a main character in anyone's life in my house except my dog. Thank God.
Yes.
But there's not a lot of role models for me either. I mean, I've got my own mother-in-law who's a good role model, but I mean, pop culturally, there are not a lot of role models in how to navigate this relationship. And of course, for us, it's more complex because we are friends and we are.
And
I
you work
like to think
together.
we're friends. I pretend we're friends, and we have a relationship independent of Luca.
Yes.
But yeah,
I read a theory, and this might be really sexist, but I thought it was interesting, about the mother-in-law dynamic. And it said that for some women who have a fractured relationship with their own husband or perhaps ex-partner, right, they raised this boy.
Oh yes.
And when I'm going to raise him to be the husband I
perfect
wish I
man.
had.
Oh yes.
And then they raise him and he turns into an adult. And then another woman gets him.
yes.
And there's this real, it was kind of a psychologist talking about it. And there's this
That's so
real like,
true.
why didn't I get that? And I thought that was interesting, especially if your mother-in-law has been divorced or has had multiple partners. Like, I just think there might be an element of that.
And there's a value clash, I think, if there's a generational. Obviously, there's usually a generational gap, and there's a value clash that comes with that. My mother-in-law, who's no longer with us, was ace, and I didn't meet Brent till he was nearly 40. So he was not like he was
was not a
way
child,
beyond being a
yeah.
mummy's boy. But I have friends who have, and my own mother, she had a tricky relationship with her mother-in-law because they were different generations in that her mother-in-law thought that she should be much more of a homemaker and home a lot more and
Yes.
not working so much and all those kind of things. And I have friends who that is the tension with their mother-in-law. I have a friend whose mother-in-law comes round and puts bleach in her teacups because she's like, there's a stain in
I
this.
thought you meant bleaching her tea.
No, but like be going like, I'm going to make you a cup of tea, and they go, oh, that's terrible. Let me just bleach it for you. Like that kind of shit drives people crazy
God, I'd be
because
stoked if someone did that for
I know.
me.
it's
I think you'd be stoked if I
microaggressions
did
at
that,
all
wouldn't
terms. It's
Yeah.
like you're doing it wrong, you're doing it wrong, you're doing it wrong, you're doing it wrong. You're inviting someone else into your life who's got the proximity to criticize you at all times, and that can be tricky.
Mm.